Hey folks, how you doing? This is Kurt with Manana Nomas. Happy Monday. And I was just like, I was doing my thing in the morning, right? So got up, shared a cup of coffee with my wife. She went off to work. She had an early day today. So then I thought, well, I'll do some reading. And not for nothing. Oh, let me grab it. I finished up the book of John today. So I was pretty happy about getting that done. And just doing some studies and getting my head on straight for like, how are we going to attack the week? And then I opened up my email and I started looking for, okay, ever since Black Friday, I've just got a ton of spam. So I'm like, okay, let's get rid of these 60 messages right off the top. So let's get rid of these and then let's see what's left here. And then I saw a thing from a client. So I answered that. I saw another thing from a client. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And then I saw another thing from a client. I was like, okay, slow down. Slow down. This is kind of like the message I had last week when I was talking about sometimes we got to slow things down, recognize where we're at, how we're going to go forward. And so then kind of like my self-preservation now, my I don't want to say my mental health, because I don't think it's like that, but my peace comes from, okay, let's plan the day. Let's see what the day is going to really look like. Okay. And then it occurred to me, I haven't really shown that many people this season yet. And I think it's important to take a look at this, right? So every year since 2022, right? So 2022, 23, 24, and now 2025, Manana Nomas has made a digital planner for people, especially like, so this is mine. So this is my Remarkable 2 tablet. And I really like using a digital planner and journal. And so I started out with a digital planner. Then I started out with a planner and a journal, right? So I said, then I started out, but you get it. I was going to use a digital planner. And then I was like, no, I want to have some journal stuff in there too. And so in 2022, when we put out the first planner journal, it was not hyperlinked. And you had to kind of like tag where, so you could, pardon me, you can use tags in a document to navigate better. So I would tag current day, current week, current month. And then that's how I navigated through that planner. And these planners are 1,300 pages. And so, people were like, that's not exactly that convenient. So I think it was either 23 or 24. We went to a completely hyperlinked version of a digital planner and journal. And instead of having it like all the months, all the weeks, all the days, all the notes, all the journal pages, what we decided to do was kind of morph things around a little bit and keep things going in a more of a chronological state. Now, people could go one of two ways, right? Because, I want all my journal stuff together and then I want my calendar stuff separate. But I like the idea of keeping things together. Not every day is a journal entry for me. Okay, not every day is, spilling my guts in this thing. But having them connected to the days and being able to search them out. And so you'll notice I'm going to go ahead and put this on the screen for you. And this is what the digital planner looks like. Now, in the tablet, it's black and white. I tell you what, I'm on the edge of my seat. Like, I'm really tempted to buy the new Remarkable Paper Pro because it's color and it's bigger. It's like an inch taller, almost an inch taller, something like that. And it's in color. But you'll notice I can turn off this sidebar here, and that shows you what the page would actually look like. This sidebar here gives me the options I want to use on the tablet. And not for nothing, I'm left-handed, so you can change whether you put the menu bar on the left or on the right. And since I'm left-handed, I move it to the right, so I'm not messing with a bunch of things. And then you can choose different pens that you want to use. A lot of times I'll choose the fountain pen just because I like the way that it writes. And you can change the thickness and you can change the color. And like I said, digitally on the computer, you'll see it in color. On the tablet, it's black and white, unless, of course, you're fancy and you get the new Paper Pro that just came out. I can go to different marker colors or highlighter colors. And so I can use yellow, green, pink, or gray. as a highlighter. And like I said, if I look at these documents in the computer, I will see the colors, not just black and white. Okay. And then you can use snap to text, for your highlighters. So if you want to do that, hello, excuse me. And so I kind of went right into like product tour here. And that wasn't really the whole goal, wasn't really just to say, hey, let's do a product tour. But I wanted to say, like, how do you plan for success? How do you plan your week? How do you plan your month? So for me, and this is the 2025 calendar. So I swipe a page in, and let's say I want to go to the first of the year. So I can click there, and it's going to take me right to the first of the year. And if you had one of these planners last year, we used to start at 8 in the morning. Well, now I added 6 in the morning. And since there's not a lot going on for people between 6 and 8, I left them single lined instead of triple lined. So we go from 6 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. You've got a calendar at the top of the page, and you can, if you click on the month, for example, you'll go to the month in review page. Now, for me, I like to use these as like tick boxes. So let's say if I do my quiet time and I read scripture that day, I'll do that. If I take my wife out on a date on Friday, maybe I put that there. If I go to the gym on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, I got that. Scripture, I go to church on Sunday, so that's a given, right? So we'll take that. Now, wouldn't it be great if this habit tracker had me going like every day straight across there? Yeah, would be great. And for married folks, wouldn't it be great if like every week you had, at least one time with your spouse that was, kind of a date, kind of a thing. For book, I put scripture on a separate line, but for book, maybe people in the book area, maybe that's for people that like to read or write or whatever. So I put book there as a thing. Now, so what's the main goal of the month, right? And I could say have a great year. Have a great year. Okay. And then any kind of notes that you want to put in here, you can put in here, right? And then just go to the next day. Now, when I get to the day, what's interesting is I can plan my day, right? So, I used to have meetings with Lifter LMS earlier in the days. Now, since we moved to Kansas, it's later in the day for me. But let's say, I had a Lifter LMS thing, and then I had a WP Tonic thing, right? And then let's say that I was making a podcast at noon for Mañana No Mas, right? Mañana No Mas. Okay. And so you can kind of see, like, I could plan my day out here. Hayden's going to come back from, so I'll say Hayden home in this area, right? From school. Of course, this is January 1st. He's going to have the day off. But you guys get the idea here, right? And then I got room over here if I want to make some notes about anything. So I can do that. But if I just swipe a page over, I've got today's inspiration, which is like if I were to study, like today I read the book of John. So I would say, the book of John finished up. And then anything that stuck out to me in that reading, I would put there, like a verse or a saying or whatever. What are the priorities for the day? Now, I already said when I started checking my emails today, I saw a thing from a client, then another client, then another client. And somehow you have to have a way to like keep things centered and clear. Everybody wants a piece of your time. When you are an entrepreneur, a business person, everybody wants a piece of your time. So you have to like, kind of like, okay, what are the priorities? I've got to do that. And then at the end of the day, I like to do a recap. And I like to kind of look at, hey, what was the day? What did the day look like? How did things shape up? So I like to have a planning part of the day and a recap part of the day. And then, of course, I've got this journal page. And this is where I'll say, this is like personal thoughts here, right? So for me, it is, this becomes a daily for me. And so I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always the kind of guy that had all the stuff going on. I didn't have, planners and habit trackers and all of these things. Only a few years ago, I say few, it's like half a decade now. But so, pardon me, for about the last half a decade, I've been using a written planner and journal. I stress every time I talk about this. I do use I do use the regular calendars for things like Google Calendar and stuff like that. But um, for me, it's very cathartic to physically write things down. So when I get up in the morning, and not for nothing, all of my automatic appointment centers, uh, they all book out a day in advance. So I know that when I get up on Monday morning, my automatic appointment setting tool isn't going to set any more appointments for that Monday. So when I get up in the morning, I know that what I see on my calendar is my calendar. And that lets me know, okay, I've got 3 meetings today. I've got a big gap in time between 1 and 4. And so when I know that, then I'm able to make adjustments, right? Then I'm able to go, okay, now I can plan my day. When am I going to read? When am I going to work on personal development? Hey, James, welcome to the call, man. Totally awesome. He says, very nice device. Yeah, I have had this remarkable tablet for years now, and it is everything I can do to not swipe a credit card and buy the new Paper Pro in color. As far as being a productivity tool, this is where people kind of get like confused. This tablet is not cheap. It cost as much as a stinking laptop. Like I really battled myself about buying it in the first place, but I needed something that was distraction free. So it's not an Android tablet. It's not on iOS. It's distraction free. It does connect to the internet. It does send emails. It does sync PDFs and documents and things like that. Like I could put a ebook in here and I could read it like I'm reading a Kindle. I could do that. But when I'm working in the tablet, I'm not getting notifications from TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and email and all that stuff. So when I choose to work in the tablet, I very much choose to work in the tablet, and it helps keep me focused. And then, is it efficient to have a digital calendar on the computer and a dynamic calendar? So let's call it dynamic. So I've got a dynamic calendar. It's synced with my Google Calendar and it goes to my Outlook and all that's happening, right? So is it efficient to have that and something that I write down manually? Many experts would say, dude, that's overkill. You're messing things up. But for me personally, the act of writing it down calms me, centers me, and helps me prepare for my day. So that's how I look at that. Like so from a leadership perspective, is this the right tool? It's the right tool for me. Is it the right tool for everybody? I don't know, but it's the right tool for me. And so one of the things that I do, and I'm going to go ahead and take this one screen share off, and I'm going to drag this window back over here, and I'm going to open up the Mañana No Mas website. And the reason I'm going to do all this, and let's make this full screen so I know what the heck I'm looking at, and open up a screen share. Here's the deal. I do this every year. This is not to make money. This is to share. I've been doing this for years. And so every year I make a new version of the digital planner and journal, and I put it up for people to get for free. So it says this year we're continuing to give away the digital planner and journal, which is phenomenal, in the Remarkable 2 tablet. You can use it in other tablets. Like you could use it in a books, or you could use it in I had someone put it in their iPad. They had an iPad Pro and they put it in their iPad Pro and it worked really well. It's a fillable PDF that's all hyperlinked. So let's just be real, right? This isn't something I programmed. I'm not a developer, but I was like, I need something I can interact with in a distraction-free environment and plan my days and give myself kind of an even feel about it. Now, the reason I went live today, and by the way, I didn't finish saying, man, my ADHD is on point today. Just fill out first name, last name, email address, get the goods. Boom, you'll get an email. It sends you a link, download the file, and it's yours. It's free, right? So if you want that, go ahead and grab it. And we'll go ahead and take that down. Like I was saying, for me personally, is I can wake up with the best of intentions. And then when I start looking at my email, and this is why time blocking has become somewhat important to me because I've realized this is a problem. I will say, okay, from this time to this time, I'm going to look at my emails. And then I'm going to say, I'm not going to look at email until 2 o'clock, or I'm not going to look at email until 4 o'clock. Why? Because if it's 11 o'clock and I start clearing out the inbox, somebody's going to ask me to do something in there. And then I'm going to, then even if whether I do it or I don't do it, it's in here and it's taking up precious real estate that I could be using to be productive with what's already on the list. My kid doodles a lot. Yeah, James, that's good. That's good. He says here, that's why I use my Kindle over the phone. It keeps me focused. Absolutely. And so I don't know if you could, I don't know about the Kindle. See, I'm just not that device savvy, to be honest with you. But you might be able to take the planner, chuck it into the Kindle, and use that kind of as a planner if you want. What I really like about the Remarkable 2 is it syncs to their app and then syncs with all of my devices. So I have, my planner, journal, all that stuff on my computer, on my phone, in the tablet. It's everywhere. And it's completely searchable. So if I made myself a journal entry, last June, but I can't remember what day in June I wrote it or whatever, I don't even have to know it was in June. I could just put in a couple of keywords in a search and it would pull up the documents that have that word in it. So it's kind of nice, and it translates handwriting really well. So I can handwrite, and then I can export to print or export to text, and then I can send that text as an email if I like, which is nice. Sometimes you just like to write it out. James also says, my kid doodles a lot, but when he gets upset with the drawing, he tosses the whole paper out. I tell him just to give it to me. I use the scraps as my not taking the planner. Taking in planner. I use the scraps as my not note taking. I use the scraps as my note taking in planner. There you go. There you go. And it's a fun way, right? In this world of digital stuff, I think about, so when I first started journaling, I ended up with books. And every 2-3 months, there would be another book. And I ended up, remember, those of you that had followed me years ago, I was in a garage. I was working in a garage in California, and I had this whole workstation set up, right? But next to me on that workstation was just a stack of copybooks, like those composition notebooks. Just had a stack of them. And if I wanted to go back, because every meeting that I have, that's something else that I do with this tablet, is every meeting that I have, I take notes. And so if I go to my files and I go to meeting notes, and then I go to Mañana No Más, there is a ton of names in here. And these are all the people. You can just scroll up on that thing. And these are all the people that I've met with over the years. And I take notes of every conversation. And so every time I'm on a meeting with someone, I open up my tablet and I just kind of note down, like, hey, what was the main point of the conversation? Do they have kids? What's the name of their dog? What plugin are they developing? What's going to be the topic of the podcast? And it keeps me focused on them. Boom. But remember, I talked about having that stack of journals. I couldn't search that stack of journals before, right? And so let's say like David Valentine. David Valentine was someone that I had as a guest on my podcast. And do I remember when I first met him? Do I remember when what we talked about? Not really. I just remember him being this awesome dude. So if I went through those old copybooks, page by page by page, and tried to find the time I talked to David Valentine, it could take me hours and hours and hours to find that if I thought that was important. However, if I look in this list, I can just hit search and put in David Valentine, and it'll pull up, all of the meetings that I had with David Valentine. And I keep all those notes there. And then James says, do you scan in those notes? Would be a nice archive to look back on. I did for a while. So what I did for a while, and I used to use Microsoft's OneNote. So let's take things back another decade, right? I used to use Microsoft OneNote, and so if I hand wrote something, a note from a meeting or something like that, I would scan it and I would put it into OneNote. Well, the cool thing about OneNote is you could export OneNote as a PDF, and this tablet works really well on PDFs. And so what I did was I exported the OneNotes as PDF files and put those into the tablet. And I haven't used up all the memory yet or anything like that, so that's been good. From a journal perspective, it's a little bit more difficult for me in the journaling side because of the way that I put the planner and journal together. The journaling is part of the planner. So it is the date with all the time grids, and then your section for your daily notes, and then your journal entries for that day. And so it's those 3 pages every day. So your journals become part of the calendar. So that's the way that I had used that. And so as I came up today, this Monday, I had a lot of things on my mind. We had a Christmas party at the house this weekend. I did an amazing brisket, and I did on the smoker, cooked for 11 and a half hours. It was really, really good, really tasty, really juicy. And then we did a couple of little pork roasts with different kinds of rubs. So we put out 3 different kinds of meat. And then other people had brought, like, beans and tater salad and all that kind of stuff. It was a really good Christmas party. And so we had that over the weekend. And then my son had his second wrestling match. And my daughter had some activities with the ice skating. And there was just a lot going on this weekend, between church and moving along and doing different things. We had a community mountain bike ride yesterday. We had about 25 or 30 people show up for this mountain bike ride in McPherson, Kansas. And so you're listening to this now and you're going, what is he talking about? He's talking about all this crazy stuff. But that's what I mean. It was a busy weekend. And then I get up this morning, I have the quiet time with my wife and a cup of coffee. I have the quiet time with me in scripture to try and get my brain on the right path today, right? To stay positive and be motivated. And then if I were to dive directly into the emails without doing the planner journal first, my day would scatter. It would be almost instantaneous. It would be like I'd open up my email and I'd be like, oh, what do they want? What do they need? What's this? What's that? And I would go from one thing to the next to the next. And you know what would happen? 5:30, 6 o'clock at night would roll around and I would go, oh, I never did this for so-and-so. That is not how you want to run your day. The way you want to run your day is you want to see, okay, do I have any pre-scheduled appointments? Okay. And then you want to figure out, you want to get used to like what your pace usually is in a day and kind of time block some things out. Like I've got time blocks where I check email. I've got time blocks that I dedicate just to content creation. I've got time blocks for personal development. Right now, I'm doing a deep dive on, how would I improve the process for Mañana No Mas to develop custom websites? Right now, for the longest time, Mañana No Mas hasn't really been focused on custom websites. Mañana No Mas has been focused on production efficiency. So we've been about like, hey, let's take this starter template and modify it for this need. Let's take this starter template and inject these tools and create maybe a couple custom pages on the back end of that template to do some function. But now we're at a stage in our growth as an agency where we are bringing on enterprise level clients, and enterprise level clients aren't really interested in a conversation about, hey, let's grab this template over here and plug your logo in. They want to know, like, how is this developed for us? Is this purpose built for us? Where do our assets fit into this custom environment? And so Mañana No Mas is very methodically developing a process so that our team can be very productive and efficient in this process. So we can do needs assessments with the client, build up a use case, wireframe it out, do a full design exercise, and then bring tech in to figure out like, okay, this is the full design, this is the copy, this is the user experience we're seeking. Now, how do we build this website out to meet these needs? And for the most part, a lot of it's in WordPress, but I don't know that it's going to be with WordPress forever. I'm looking at all kinds of options right now to try and make things pop and groove. So, does that does that get easier with a planner journal? Yes, absolutely. It gets easy with a planner and journal because when I start the day out, I list out my appointments, I figure out my time blocks for the day, and then I'm able to stay more focused on. Here's the way to say this. It's like with any goal setting, like SMART goals. Like with any goal setting, it's like, where am I at right now? And where do I want to be at a specific time? And then how do I step backwards? Like how do I reverse engineer the result to where I'm at and figure out the steps to get there? And if you do that on a daily basis through planning, your days get better and your weeks get better and your months get better and your years get better. And at the end of the year, when you're looking at your financials and your spreadsheets and you're getting ready to file your taxes and pay Uncle Sam everything you've ever saved, um, it's really rewarding to go, oh, okay, yeah, this is working out the way I planned it, as opposed to this is working out completely by accident and I'm not sure how I did it. So, yeah, I'm really big on it. That's kind of it for today. I was really glad James was here today. James, you're a good dude, man. Thanks for hanging out with me. Um, I am probably looking at my schedule for the day. If nobody gets in my way, I'm probably going to open up a little co-working this afternoon, maybe somewhere around 2, maybe between 2 and 3 uh, Central Time. But so if you see a notification, feel free to jump in and get in on that. And when I do that co-working stuff, sometimes it's just connecting and chatting with people. Other times we're looking at tools, or we are, maybe we're bouncing some stuff off of each other on how to deal with clients or overcome a situation. But it's always, always fun. It's always good to get to know people that I'm working with in the space. So, folks, that's it for today. If you want a copy of that digital planner journal, just go to manananomas.com. Go right to the top of the site right here. So this is the top of our site. Just go right down past the hero image, and right there in the bright orange box, name and email, get the goods, and you'll get yourself a free copy of that digital planner. Something else right here where I say bonus right here, bonus for this year is free enrollment in our journaling class called Jot It Down. And the reason I included that this year was A, we've had the journaling class for a couple of years now. B, not a lot of people have taken it. Just being honest with you, not a lot of people have taken it. And I thought to myself, I'm on here talking about the benefits of journaling and planning all the time. But some people will start and they won't have the dedication or the discipline to follow it through and do it on a regular basis. And so I thought if I threw in a free course called Jot It Down, maybe that would be the inspiration for you to kind of adopt this journaling lifestyle and really run with it. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I don't have a ton else yet, but I thought that I would stop on, say happy. Oh, it doesn't work. Okay. Thought I would jump in and say happy Monday, happy planning, and I'll see you guys later in the week. Have yourselves a wonderful, great day. Bye-bye.